we're going back to locals. This time, I'm not bringing some weird Neospatian hybrid hero deck. We're going pure heroes. We're going to play mostly Destiny Hero, Vision Hero, and E-Hero, with a little splash of Evil Hero in the side deck. We'll see where it goes. Of course, I'm going to run Flame Wingman. You know I'm going to. But I'm excited. Because this time, I think I actually have a chance. Maybe not sweeping, but at least doing something close to placing. When I get back, we're going to look at all the choices that I made with the deck profile. And we're going to break it down a little bit. Figure out what worked, what didn't, what came up, what was necessary. And we'll see how it goes. I'm nervous, but I'm excited. Because the last time, we got swept pretty bad. 1-3. That's rough. When you're playing something that's next to Rogue, and you're facing meta competitors, it's kind of bound to happen. So, my fingers are crossed. I'm hoping that we do okay. And if I do better than okay, then hey, hero best deck. Alright, let's cut it to the B-roll, and we'll be back with the deck profile and a little discussion on what worked and what didn't. See you soon. We went 3-1, baby! Hero best deck! You heard it here. We did it. We ended up going 3-1 at a very competitive locals using Hero. We're gonna go over the deck. We're gonna look at the choices that I made, talk about why I made them. But first, I just want to kind of break down what ended up happening. First, we played non-meta. Unfortunately, we didn't play Tear Lament, we didn't play Sprite. I was expecting it, but it never came. Instead, we faced Sky Striker, Branded Despia, Megalith, and Dino. Can you guess which one was our 1 from our 3-1? Branded kicked my ass. We'll talk about that a little bit. We'll talk about why. We'll talk about what led to that. But I'm just happy. That's the best that I've ever done at a tournament, period. I've gone to locals for a while. You know, this is my journey back into playing again, but even then, this is the best that I've ever done. I placed. 3-1 is placing. I got prize support, used it to buy a tin, pulled a pot of prosperity. It was a good night. I'm not going to complain about it. I had some great duels. I met some more amazing people, including a couple new comers to the locals that hopefully will be back. And I also may or may not have gotten permission to record matches. So we'll see. But with that being said, let's go to the deck profile. I want to talk about what I was playing, why I played it, why it mattered, and when things came up. So let's go over there. We'll see you in a second. I'm blown away. I'm hyped, and I'm excited, and I'm very, very, very excited to show you what I ended up using. Let's throw it over. Alright, so we're looking at the deck that I was running for locals this week. Now, it's very, very different from what I was running before. Where before I was trying to make that new Neospace engine work a little bit more, I decided I'm going back to my roots. I'm going to play a little bit of that engine. Just a little bit. But not much. And I'm just going to go back to playing normal, borderline pure heroes. Minus hand traps and the like. But regardless, let's get into it. I don't really want to delay any further. We are playing Double Stratos. A lot of this is going to be very, very similar to what I was playing before, but bear with me because I'm going to talk about a couple of the techs that we ended up doing and a couple of the things that I did differently this time that I wish I had done last time. So we do Double Stratos, double Shadow Mist, again, pretty standard. 1 Liquid Soldier. Now, here's the thing with Liquid Soldier. Last time that we went to locals, I really tried to go into Absolute Zero, tried to make a bunch of plays with that, trying to just make my opponent worried about me clearing their board, but this time I decided, nah, I'm not going to do that as much. I'm just going to use Liquid Soldier at the end of the combo to draw 2, maybe go into a mass change if I didn't draw one in my opening hand, and hopefully go into a play extension that would maybe win me the game. We'll get to that in a little bit. Next, we are playing 1 Honest Neos, and remember I said that we're playing a little bit of that new Neospatian and Neos related tech. We're playing Spirit of Neos. Now, let me talk about this card. This card came up more times than I'd like to count. The only time that it gave me any pause to use was against Dino because it was just flip face down, pop, destroy, deal 1,000. But this time, I loved using this card. Before, I didn't search it. I didn't want to search it because I didn't want to deal with it. But when it got into a couple games that were very grindy and that were very like stuck on those grind games, this came in clutch. A lot of the time my opponent couldn't get over this card. And even though they had number 41 out to keep it in defense position, they couldn't get over it. And I just really made sure that this stayed on the field to protect me. And eventually in that game, I ended up winning. It was against the Megalith player. That was, and like I had mentioned before, I had one of the best duels in my entire Yu-Gi-Oh career. That was the duel. It was against the Megalith player. We went back and forth for a while. We almost decked out. The round went to 25 minutes. So it was insane. The combos that were being played on both, we both ran out of gas right away. They went first, I went second. And it was incredible. Just an incredible game of Yu-Gi-Oh! I wouldn't trade that duel for any that I've ever participated in. It was that good, that incredible, that memorable. By the end of it, we were in round 3. We're rushing through combos because we have literally 2 minutes left. We have a crowd gathering around us. It was... If I'm going to describe anything and describe it anyway, I basically know how Jaden feels when he's dueling in the anime. There was just such a rush. It was amazing. It was fun. Both players felt good by the end of it, and we just had a really great time. So I won because of Spirit of Neos. This was my clutch card. So going up next, we were playing the Flame Wingmen duo of Avion and Burstinatrix. Went into Wingman during that Megalith game, was hoping to swing over, and then they ended up getting rid of the card, which was sad, before I could do anything with it. They destroyed their own field because they needed to, they said, well, you know what, I'm going to go out on my own terms. And they decided to pop my Absolute Zero. And that led to to their field getting wiped. The only thing that I was sitting on at that point, this was game 2, maybe? No. Yeah, no. Oh, I can't remember. It was a field wipe. I can't remember if I had Malicious Bane out or not. But regardless, amazing game. So that's it for the E heroes. Let's move into the D heroes. We played triple malicious. I consider Denier to be triple malicious. Let's be real. You're not really going to use this to bring anything else to the top of your deck or anything like that. You're going to take your banished malicious, put it on top of the deck, and then go into another malicious play. So I consider this to be the third malicious until maybe we get it in the ban list, but maybe we won't have a ban list. Who knows? We'll see. Up next, playing Celestial. This isn't going to get banned in the TCG. Right? Konami, this isn't going to get banned in the TCG, right? So I'm playing it for now. There's options to go into. If for some weird reason it does, I don't think it will, but it's fine. Plasma. In the main deck this time, before I was side decking it, Plasma came in clutch a couple times. Really, really got me out of a bunch of tough situations. The only time it didn't matter was against Dino and against Despia. They were able to get rid of it. I misplayed a little bit in the Despia game. I had DPE out. Could have done a couple different plays, but it didn't end up working out. But it's fine. It was my one loss for the day. The only reason I beat Dino was to time as well. So I feel bad about that loss to my opponent, at least. But they were cool. They were amazing. Where the Megalith player was my best duel, my best opponent was the Dino player. And even though I had a great rapport and a great conversation with the Megalith player, I got to give props to the Dino player. He was amazing. Big shout out to him. He was super cool, super chill. So if you're watching, I appreciate you. Thank you for the amazing duel. But okay, let's get into the Vision Heroes. This time I'm playing triple Ferris. I believe I was only playing 2 before. We're going double Vion and double Increase. I bumped it to 2 because last time I dead drew into Ferris. I dead drew into Increase way too many times, and this time I would have drawn into him and dead drew him a bunch. He ended up becoming a lot of discard fodder for Ferris effect because of the second copy. There was no time that I drew both copies, thankfully, but it could have easily happened based on the luck that I had last time I went to locals. So I'm glad that it didn't this time, though. All right, moving into the fusion spells, we're running triple mask change. I actually only used mask change one time on Absolute Zero to bring out Acid, and it didn't really do much. It didn't really do much, unfortunately. So, Mass Change is a great card if you can draw into it, but past... Oh, wait, no, I did go into Dark Law one time. I went into Dark Law one time against the Sky Striker player. I forgot about that because I hero lived into Shadow Mist because I had Stratos in hand and another hero so I could discard with Ferris and get the combo going. I ended up ending that board on Dark Law Plasma, so that felt pretty good. But doing triple of that, we're playing max amount of Fusion Destiny. It's just too good of a card. Last week, I found myself going into Dangerous a lot more than I was DPE. This week, I found myself going into them about the same amount. So I will not be taking Dangerous out of the main deck. It's too good of a card for me to ever justify doing that. Being able to send Shadow Mist Malicious, too good. I go into Shadow Mist, I can search so that I can get my combo going in case I dead drew and couldn't go into anything. And then I've got Malicious so I can extend a little bit. So definitely worth playing Dangerous. I'm never not going to play Fusion Destiny in Heroes. I don't ever think in the TCG we're going to see it get hit to 1 or even banned outright. So until anything else happens in the future, I'm going to play it at its max amount within the deck. Hopefully one day we get it back up at 3. Now that Verte's gone, maybe? We'll have to see. Up next, we are doing Polymerization. Miracle Fusion, pretty standard for hero. And then I'm playing the one Instant Contact. This came up one time. I got out a Flame Wingman, and then just used it as link material. Because I needed a hero name. I only had one on the field, and I'd gotten stopped, but I had this in my hand. So I was able to go into this and start clearing away a little bit of my opponent's board bit by bit by bringing out the right combos and doing the right little bits of tech and bits of play. So I'm gonna keep mainboarding this because I just think it's a good tech card. It's not amazing, but it's not terrible either. Definitely worth playing at 1. I am considering throwing Neos into the main deck just so that I can actually get some utilization out of it, but we'll see. I'm not really sold on that idea yet. With the amount of times that I don't draw into Mass Change, I might cut one of my Dark Law and put in Neos Wingman if I do that. So we'll see. But let's go into our searching spell cards. So we are running double a Hero Lives. Now, I said that I was going to run 2 when we talked 2 weeks ago from the last locals because I didn't want to run 3. I still stand by that. I think at 2, it's a very good addition to the deck. I drew into it enough that I could use it turn 1, and I could get some extra combo pieces going, and I could extend a little bit past just the standard combo. Like I said, I used it to get Shadow Mist, which then got Mass Change, and then I could get Dark Law out. That's really the only time that I used it, other than one additional time where I used it to get Stratos because I didn't have one in hand, and then I just extended into normal hero plays. Ended up searching another Stratos off of dumping, doing the Cross Crusader effect, and just searched again, extended, because I hadn't normal summoned yet. So it worked at 2. I don't think I would run it at 3. E-Call. E-Call at 2. Consistency. That's pretty much it. When I cut things for the extra deck, this was it, right here. I cut these 2. Or the side deck, I'm sorry. When I wanted to go and grab something different for game 2 or game 3, I cut these 2 first, kept these 2. E-Call was just too good of a card to keep consistency up. So I definitely would run it at least 1, especially if you're not running Rhoda. But I've considered taking out an E-Call and playing 1 Rhoda instead, just to kind of have that option to go into a Vision hero if I need to, or even a Destiny hero if I really, really desperately need one. But I haven't run into that situation yet, so I am not holding my breath on any of that just yet, but we'll see. We'll see how the next locals go. So up next, we're running. These are the hand traps and board breakers. We're running double DD Crow. I didn't really want to run 3, and I didn't want to run Ash in the main board. I got a tip from a friend, Totally Mimi, which, by the way, I'm going to link their YouTube channel in the description down below. Highly recommend you check them out. They post deck profiles, they post openings, they post little things here and there on YouTube, and they also stream on YouTube. So I'm going to be posting their stuff in the description down below. But running that at 2. We are running Super Poly at 3. I mainboarded Super Poly at 3. Solid choice. Against Dino, came in clutch. I actually drew double Super Poly in both of my opening hands for round 1 and 2. And it worked out. I was able to get a couple plays going, and it just ended up being worth playing. I also, against the Megalith player for game 2, ended up getting a couple things out on the field that ended up helping me. And then game 3, I broke their adventure combo and super polyed off one of the targets for that. And we'll get into how I was able to do that when we get to the sideboard. So just to finish this out, 1 Called by the Grave and triple Infinite Impermanence. That's pretty much all I ran for hand traps and board breakers, in the main deck at least. In the side deck, I had a couple more options that I would go into. I never really sided out more than 1 copy of Super Poly. I always had 1, and we'll get into why, because in the extra deck, we have a couple targets for it. So, a Flame Wingman as our bestest boy. I tried to get into this card a lot more than I was actually able to, but it was still fun. When I was able to full combo off, I ended up getting into Flame Wingman and swung for game with him. So that was pretty fun. We're playing 1 Masked Hero Blast. Considering cutting this, but I'm not really sure yet. If I draw Stratos and Blast, it can be a good, or a Blast. If I draw Stratos and Mask Change, this can be a good out to a couple different things. It stays for now, but it's on the cutting board. We're just waiting to see if I end up actually making the chop. We're doing double Darklaw. Self-explanatory, don't really need to talk about that. Might be taking out 1 to put in the Neos Wingman, but we'll see. 1 Acid combo as well with our Absolute Zero, going in for a full board wipe. Just solid choice. Speaking of our E-Heroes, we're going into 1 Sunrise. I don't really need to explain that. If you play heroes or understand them at all, this is what you go into. 1 Absolute Zero. Absolutely phenomenal card. I love Absolute Zero so much. Not a ton of Super Poly targets right now because water isn't super played, but in Sprites, totally awesome is a target for it. So keep that in mind if you're running Super Poly in your main deck and you have an E-Hero on the field. Like I said before, Dangerous came in clutch about half the amount of time that DPE did. DPE was not my main go-to. I didn't focus on getting DPE out, but it was a good card, and it came in clutch. It would have come in clutch if I had actually played it correctly, but I wasn't. Honestly, I'm not used to playing this card. So if I had just practiced a little bit more and had a little bit more board knowledge and game knowledge, I could have actually probably won game 2 against the Despia player because of this. But I misplayed. It was my own fault, and that cost me the game. So that's it for the hero fusions. Let's just get the Super Poly targets out of the way. Mud Dragon and Swamp, and Garura. I went into Garura once, and I never went into Muddy Mud Dragon. Or, well, not Muddy Mud Dragon. Mud Dragon of the Swamp. Muddy Mud Dragon's a different card. Never went into this. Went into this a bunch, considering just totally cutting this card. Keep in mind, you can't summon it on your own turn if you go into full hero combo because of Ferris or because of Fusion Destiny. So it's tricky. It's definitely a starting your turn off kind of play, or flipping Super Poly on your opponent's turn and breaking their board before they attack, or, to stop their combo from going off any further. This came up against the Megalith player twice, so highly recommend playing this in the main deck. Really tough to keep this one in. I'm highly considering getting rid of it. I just couldn't find a good time to use it. So that's it for the Super Poly targets. Now let's go into the links. Pretty simple, of Cross Crusader, Infernal Divisor, Wonder Driver, and Dread Decimator. Great options, great cards. These are some of the best archetype link monsters in the game, I would argue. Minus the Infernal Divisor, because it only gets out our Avian and Burstinatrix so that we can extend into Flame Wingman and just kind of do a little bit more, have more board presence to swing for game. But I only played one of these for the Cross Crusader. If I was to cut the Mud Dragon, I would be throwing in an extra Cross Crusader for sure. So that's it for the extra deck, though. That's it for the main portion of the deck. In the side deck, I kind of tuned it a little bit after kind of reading the room at my locals, understanding what people are playing, looking at what things were going on, and I suggest that you do that as well. Obviously, you're not going to be able to do that at like a YCS or a regional, so you have to play a little bit more generic, but you can also play against the meta, which also works to your advantage, which is kind of what I ended up doing because a lot of my locals are full of meta decks. Not that I faced any, but it still left me prepared for the inevitability, or the possible inevitability, of facing one of those Tearlament or Sprite players. And I'm actually going to be adding a card to this for the next locals, and we'll talk about that a little bit. So in the side deck, we played a Dusted Gold, Dark Calling, and Malicious Bane. I'm going to get a lot of hate from the hero community based on this choice alone. A lot of people want to main deck this. In a best of 3, I don't think it's the best option in this format right now because there's Super Poly targets that you could be putting in your extra deck instead. And
this just kind of clogs up a little bit. So I kept this in the side deck. When I was siding out, I would take out an Infernal Divisor because of instant contact being in the deck for Flame Wingman, and I put in Malicious Bane, and then I took out the E-Call and the second A Hero Lives for these two targets. Just made the most sense for me personally, but you play the deck however you want. This was just how I was playing it for my locals, and probably how I'm going to continue playing it going forward. But I thought it was a good move, a good tech, and I would not do this in the future. So let's continue on with the side deck. This is where things get a little spicy, a little saucy, if you will. We're playing one Elemental Hero, Gaia, one Escuridao, one Nova Master, a beautiful ulti. This is the only hero ulti that I own, so I like to try to use it whenever I can. And one Great Tornado. This came in clutch against the Megalith player specifically, but still, I had a target for the Megaliths. I had a target to get rid of the Megaliths with Super Poly. Super great target for it. I always made sure that I had an E-Hero when I ended my turn, and I tried to go into this a couple times. I ended up only using this, but we'll talk about that. The Adventure Package. These two take out the Adventure Package. Token, Griffin Rider. Escuridao. There's so many dark monsters in this format. There's so many dark monsters always, but if you want to pop a big target on the field, sometimes getting rid of a dark monster is worth it. And Nova Master, I used, I didn't even end up using it, but I had it in here to get rid of Sprite Elf. I thought that it would be a good hit before they could get their effect off. Just flip Super Poly up, use it with one of my E-Heroes that I left on the field, get Nova Master out, and at least I have a target. It might not be the best of the E-Heroes or even the Omni Heroes, but it's still something. It was still a target, and it was still possibly going to be used. If I end up facing Sprite in the future, I will make sure to keep this in my sideboard because getting rid of Elf can be very important. So let's move along here. This is more of the board breaker, hand trap, destruction effects that I ended up running in the sideboard. Because if you notice, I wasn't running any real hand traps in the deck other than Imperm and DD Crow, which I never used DD Crow, and I only used Imperm a couple times. Ash at 3 in the sideboard. I know. But it was worth it. I ended up siding this in against the Sky Striker player, and it came in clutch. I drew it off the top for the second duel, and ended up making the difference for that. They couldn't extend into much, and I stopped them getting... they didn't get engaged that turn, which was great. Then double Dark Ruler no more. I only sided this in against the Despia player. It didn't end up mattering. I ended up using the effect, and then it didn't work out. So iffy, very iffy, especially with Hero, because you want to try and go for the OTK. You don't really have many things to set up like negates and board breaks and stuff like that. In fact, because of that, and because I learned my lesson going forward, I probably won't play this in the side deck, which is why I was talking about adding in that extra little spice, that little tech that I had said earlier. Then we are running for spell and trap removal in case I was to run into Mystic Mine, double Twin Twister, and one Harpy's Feather Duster. Never ran into it, never had to side it in, so wasn't that big a deal. But I did keep it in just in case. So that is the deck. I'm pretty happy with how things turned out, how things went. Could have been worse, could have been better, but could have been worse. I'm excited for the next time because again, I'm learning. Every time I go and every time I play, I'm learning. So we're gonna see more text, we're gonna see more changes, we're gonna see more weird little plays here and there as I learn and as I grow. So let's cut it over to me, just kind of giving the outro to this video. But thanks for watching the deck profile part. Appreciate you, and I'll see you in just a second. All right, that's pretty much it for this one. Don't leave yet. Don't leave yet. So I know that I didn't really get much footage of me like actually vlogging. The problem is I ran into time with a lot of the duels that I ended up having, so I didn't really have the opportunity to actually vlog in between rounds. And I didn't vlog during the day, which I said I was going to do. Unfortunately, I didn't do that. That's my bad. I'm going to do that in the next one. I might actually get a different vlog out so that I'm not doing just a bi-weekly. Might do weekly. It'll be just one, but we'll see. This is a whole new format for me. This is a whole new kind of thing for me. Compiling clips into one video, making sure to record in a different way, making sure to act in a different way when on camera, because I'm used to streaming. I'm used to having an interaction. So it's different. It's different. But I'm willing to do the challenge. I'm willing to try it. And I hope that you all are excited to come along this journey with me as we try to take heroes now from 1-3, 3-1, maybe to 4-0. Who knows? We'll see. But with all that being said, I stream every Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and every other Saturday over at twitch.tv/YourMoveLive. I hope to see you there. And until then, I hope you all stay happy, healthy, and safe. And wherever you are in the world, good morning, good afternoon, good night, and goodbye.